Hi, this is Lada from astrolada.com, and these are your October 2018 monthly horoscopes for each of the 12 signs. And as always, I'd like to start with a general feel of the whole month. For all the 12 signs will be the same introduction. Please listen to it because it's important. Everyone will feel this. Well, this month in October, there will be no planets in fire except the North Node, but that's not even a planet, which means that we might be feeling a little bit less energetic, a little bit less enthusiastic and excited, especially the fire signs like Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius might feel a bit more on a downer. But this month is not meant for us to be so exciting. Actually, the universe knows its job because currently we're also going to have in October quite a few planets in Scorpio, which is very deep, intense, emotional. Uh, and especially Venus going retrograde there, which is all about deep emotional reevaluations. And not having fire planets actually can be a good thing because the other planets are in Earth signs and in air signs, so this will give us a bit more grounding during those emotional evaluations that we're doing in October, a little bit more practicality through the earth signs, a little bit more rationality and clarity from the air signs, from the sun in the air sign. Ah, so the most important thing though this month is that Venus is going to be retrograde in the sign of, basically the whole month is in the sign of Scorpio. So there will be some very deep psychological reevaluations of our values, our self-worth, of some of us, our relationships, of our finances, which sign it's on a bit different level, and they'll be very intense. They'll be taken out of because Scorpio is also a sign of the biggest transformations on a deep psychological level. This is not some superficial change that's going to happen in our life. This is going to be for each person on a different area of their life, some very profound transformation that you, and Scorpio is like all or nothing, black or white. So you would have, you with your evaluation ability, which is Venus, you would decide that something is either not worth to have any more in your life, and with the ruthless energy of Scorpio, where Venus is going to be and the helpful aspect, the stressful aspect from Mars, the ruler of Venus in Scorpio, we're going to either cut something out completely from our life, or we're going to decide that that's it. I'm going to recommit much deeper. I'm going to involve myself emotionally, psychologically, financially, emotionally, on a much deeper level, which is the other extreme of Scorpio, to something, to someone, to some vision or whatever in our life, depending where it's happening in your horoscope. So we'll be either cutting off something from our life, or totally embracing it deeply and totally like making it our own, possessing it, owning it, or taking control of it fully. And really, Venus is planet of love, recommitting to it with a deeper love. So there'll be intense transformations, very emotional, and hopefully those planets that are mostly in earth signs that will ground us and make us take more practical decisions, and in air, more reasonable decisions will help this process. But there is also another thing. Jupiter is in the last degrees, in the last 10 degrees of Scorpio this month. So for everyone in different area of their life, there will be some new powerful opportunities coming as well, because Jupiter is in on new 10 degrees. It hasn't been there since 12 years. So it's very interesting because they're both in the same sign. So in the same area of your life, you would be ruthlessly removing something or very deeply reevaluating and recommitting to something through Venus. And at the same time, some new opportunities will be opening for you. You first remove something, and then those new opportunities by the end of the month will start flooding in, or the other way around. Maybe those new opportunities start coming and flooding in from the same area in your life, while you're deciding that you want to remove the dead wood, which is Scorpio is the planet, the sign of death, and Venus is the planet of evaluation, and you would lovingly let go of something and let it die because something new is flooding into your life, some new opportunities, some new visions, some new people or ideas. So that's generally the whole overview for the month. And now let's check out for each sign, and check out your ascendant, sun, or moon sign. The three of them, basically, if you have time, where we talk about Venus retrograde and Jupiter moving forward. For Virgo, the transformations are happening in the third house, where Venus is going retrograde, which is actually not so stressful or not so difficult. But you have to rework certain relationships to make them more fair, more balanced. If they don't feel right, maybe those people represented by the third house will approach you to do this rebalancing, or maybe you will approach them. It can happen both ways, but certainly you'd have to rework or transform the contract of terms of agreement between you and colleagues, for example. Third house rules teammates, playmates, schoolmates. You might have to, if something, as I said, you're not happy with, it has to be, and it can especially escalate around the 11th of September because Venus is squared by Mars then. So people in your everyday environment can become like triggers somehow, and you might decide to either fully eliminate those people from your life, uh, or a certain aspect of the relationship with them, or to rework it and to recommit deeper and to transform something, to clarify something, but because you'll be kind of that your feelings and emotions will escalate, Venus in Scorpio, to such an extent that that's it, this or this, or maybe these people symbolized by the third house will do that. And this is colleagues, workmates, teammates, playmates. This is people in relatives, siblings. It might be a relationship with a sibling, or those people in your life, and even friends. Third house is one of the houses of friends, the people that you hang out every day, the people that you go maybe for a run in the park with, that you hang out to have a beer with, So there will be some reevaluation, and in some more extreme cases, maybe some clash, or even the need to totally remove this yourself from someone of those people, or to transform it on a deeper level, on a different level, the relationship and the commitment between such people. You might be, often this is people you work in a small group environment, whether it's your schoolmates or your workmates, like where you go to meetings, for example, and there might be the need to rethink something in your relationship with those. But also it can mean that those people who you probably have not seen for a long time, or maybe an old colleague can reappear. You can get in touch, an old friend, a sibling. You can see your sibling if you haven't seen them, or some relative that you haven't seen, or an old schoolmate or old playmate can reappear, and you can reconnect with them as well. They can fire up some old memories. That's another very much more gentler manifestation, which I wish for all of you, while Venus is on the third house. Is in the third house. Third house is also anything to do with written or spoken words. So some of you might be revising and reevaluating the harmony and balance of some written project that you've done, or maybe if you're doing something in regards to media, to writing, to speaking, like I do right now. If you're in any environment that requires business, commercial activities, media activities, writing and speaking activities, you might be redoing some project, especially aesthetically, and you might have to fully transform it aesthetically. Third house has everything to do with business. It might be websites, it might be the meetings of a business, it might be the strategy, the marketing strategy, the sales strategy of a company or a business. And some of you might be actually reevaluating on a very profound way the aesthetic appeal and the worth, Venus's worth as well, of some commercial business that you have, of some commercial activities, or anything to do with writing and speaking that you're reevaluating, that you're redoing, or maybe something that you had as a skill, especially skill of the hand, the skill of communication, which is the third house, can come back to you, and you might have to finish it. You might have to complete it now, because Venus retrograde in the third house can be about that. It can be also about traveling somewhere, but a place you've been before. To third house is short-term travels under 1 month. So you might be able to travel to somewhere where you've been before, revisit it. It doesn't have to mean, your travels will be all go in the air. But of course, you might have to, while a retrograde period, surprises come. So if you're traveling somewhere, especially if it's not an old place you've been to, be prepared to know that something to do with traveling, something to do with movement can be a little bit delayed, or can throw you some surprises as it happens. And some more stressful situation, anything to do with vehicles and traveling as well, can happen around the 11th when Venus square Mars, so be more careful about it. And third house is all your communications. So you might be rethinking your communications, who you talk to. You might be like doing a cleanup of your Facebook and social media. Third house is all those things. or of your client list, or of your email list, or of your newsletter list, a cleanup or remodeling, a facelift. But it's going to be quite profound and quite deep. It's not on a superficial level because Venus is in Scorpio. Uh, and I just remember once I had someone said, Venus is going retrograde in my third house. What will happen? She was so scared. And what she did is she changed her social media page very much. And her sister had a remodeling of her whole image. she rethought her whole image. So it can be something as, as innocent as that. But just be careful in your communications, because people that you've known from before, or people in your, they can be around the 11th in particular, when Venus and Mars are square, because they can be this tension between you and especially people in your everyday environment that you communicate with. And then Venus joins Mercury around the 15th, 16th of October. And that's actually whatever has escalated, it can be resolved around that time with a more rational approach. It can be a good time, and this can be important time when you're doing something with papers, with documents, something important in regards to travel, something important that you take decisions in regards to some meeting, business decision, administrative duties as well. They can be quite important administrative or business commercial activity duties around that time. And something to do with contracts, agreements, documents again. And that's also third house is skills, so you can brush up on some, especially more artistic skill that you have, like a skill of the word, of beautiful communications of some sort, or of the hands, that you can decide to pick up again and deepen, or you might reevaluate a certain skill techniques that you're using, whether artistic or not, and to decide, this technique, I'm no longer, you might be a painter, for example, and you reevaluate your painting technique, and you're like, this is no longer something I want, I'm going to change it, and I'm going to transform it in a deep level. I'm going to add on it, or I'm going to recommit deeper to some technique that I used to use in the past, and dust it up from the death and revive it. That's another third house's techniques, as I said, as well skills of any sort. So you're reevaluating those. I've also seen when Venus goes retrograde that people might be changing something in regards to, like, they realize that their communication style, they want to beautify, they want to make it more agreeable, they want to improve it in some way, because Venus in the third house, they have naturally, those people who have it in the birth chart have very beautiful expression of word. They can charm people with their words. So when Venus goes retrograde, just by transit in your third house, you might become aware of the potency of words, of the power of words to transform in a gentle way and to coax others in a gentle way. And you might try maybe to take some course or class, or about writing or speaking about, or maybe make some campaign, or sales marketing campaign that is, that is using this beauty of the words of Venus in the third house. Okay, and on another level, if you have to eliminate certain relationships connected to Venus, to certain skills or business projects, because you might actually, while Venus is retrograde in Scorpio, realize that this marketing campaign or strategy is not working for me, I'm going to eliminate it. This business skill is not working for me, I'm going to eliminate it. This colleague is pissing me off, I'm going to cut off the relationship there, or this relatives, or this sibling, or this business strategy, administrative or whatever. And you have to rewrite the plan. But don't worry, because new opportunities are coming. Even if you release some business commercial project, if you release which is old and has outlived its value and purpose, Jupiter moving retrograde in the last degrees of your third house says that new such will appear, that new opportunities connected to skills, connected to communication, to writing, to speaking, even if you have to let go of some old writing project, or some project that writing or speaking, or some administrative duty that's been you've been doing for some time, and you eliminated, then don't worry, new such opportunities are coming, new skills, new clients. Third house is also connected to clients, reaching out to clients. Even if you have to change some strategy, a much better, brilliant new idea will come to you because of Jupiter, how to reach more people, how to get in contact with them. how to do sales, the third house rules all of those. Or even if you remove like some people from your life and you say, oh, they're no longer valuable for me or important, Jupiter will introduce new such people. Okay, what else is happening for you, Virgo? Mars is in your sixth house, so you're working very hard. Mars likes to be in the sixth house, and you're ruthless towards fixing problems. You're gonna get a lot of things done because of this Mars in the sixth house till the end of the month. You're gonna be like bam, 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 no time to waste. Up, up, up. Sixth house is dealing with getting work done, first of all, and you might feel like there's a lot more duties and responsibilities that you have to get done with, but Mars helps you with that. Plus, you can be more ruthless towards your health, not in a bad way. I mean, like towards health, bad health habits. Mars loves transiting the sixth house because it makes us, it can escalate some health problems, which is inflammatory, which comes sudden onset, acute health problem that comes in. That's one of the negative sides. But it also makes you say, okay, you say, for example, you get some allergy suddenly, and you're like, oh, I know, it's dairy. I'm fully cutting off dairy now. That's it, you know. Anyway, that's what I have for you, Virgos, and thank you, and I'll see you next month.